Buyer's Guide is brought to you by Change Cars. Find your dream vehicle with Change Cars, the platform buyers trust.
This week on Buyer's Guide, we take an in-depth look at the Lexus ES 250.
Minivans from Mercedes Benz and Volkswagen. They go head to head.
And we discuss the ins and outs of running a vehicle on gas.
Hello and welcome to Buyer's Guide, the consumer advice show that helps you solve all your vehicle questions and queries, whether they relate to buying, selling, maintenance, or repairs. If you have a question for the team, you can send it to buyersguide@ignitiontv.co.za. And remember to give us as much information as possible and include a nice picture of yourself in there as well.
That's right, and joining us in studio to help answer some of those questions and queries are two well-known faces in Buyer's Guide, Alan Rosenmeyer from Motor Matters and Temminkosi Pansi. Gentlemen, welcome. Nice to have you back, Tembi.
Thank you.
Alan, I can't say too much about you being back. You know, it is what it is. We kick things off with a question from Sishle, who lives in Durban and drives a 2015 Mazda 6 with a trouble-free 250,000 kilometers on the clock. He would like to know if he should keep the Mazda, especially as the 6 is no longer available in South Africa, or if it's time to shop for a new set of wheels. He has a good budget of 750,000 Rand and would like to get into a sedan that he can keep for the next 7 years. Gentlemen, he's keen on the Lexus ES 250, but he would like to have you guys' opinion. Temminkosi?
No, firstly, I think it's a good budget and that the client
It is, isn't it?
750, you know, you can get some good stuff out there. Sadly, you know, it looks like Sihle wants to move away from the current vehicle. I don't know if it's because of the mileage or anything of that nature.
But that's a good vehicle, don't you?
It is. So, but if you've budgeted 750, clearly you are planning, you know, to let go of the car. So I would say keep your Mazda 6 and maybe get yourself a new Corolla, the sedan. The budget is around about 700, and then you got both cars, and you can still use the other car for runaround, because I see that Sishle is doing about 35,000 Ks a year.
Yeah.
So you don't want to put too much mileage on either of the cars. So if Sishle can keep the Mazda 6, because it looks like
he's happy with it.
He's happy with it. He likes it, and then get yourself a newer vehicle.
What do you think of that IS 250 that he's recommended? Or it's
The
now the
ES
ES 250.
I actually had it on test 2 weeks ago. So really, it's a superb motor car. Big, because being the ES, it's the front wheel drive one, so it's spacious, it's big. The 250, look, it's not over powerful, but then it's probably very similar power-wise to his Mazda, so he's not going to have any differences there. The Lexus quality is good, we all know that. And interesting, although the mileage is a point, the Lexus, of course, comes with a 7-year maintenance plan.
Yeah, which is very good.
Yeah, and he's talking keeping 7 years. So
it's a no-brainer. You spend, what is the price on this, Alan? You remember?
just on 700.
Over
So
700.
it's well within his budget.
Yes.
And he can buy the car, and he knows for the next 7 years, he's not going to have to spend money unless at the mileage.
Well, the mileage is going to be an issue because 7 years, 105 on the new one.
So extend it.
You
can
up it
also
one way
extend
or
it.
another for 20, 30 grand.
Yeah.
You can up it nicely, and it's really a good option for him.
You know, you talk about upping it. We should also make mention, and I think I'm stand to correction here. If you up your maintenance plan when you buy the car, not when you wait for it to get to
cheaper.
the end,
it's
way cheaper than if you, am I right?
100%.
Yeah.
And sorry, I wanted to correct something. The Corolla is not 700,000.
Yeah.
I mean, it's way less than that.
Yeah.
So I brought the Corolla simply because Sishle is coming
value
from a
option.
Mazda, good value proposition vehicle. It's got all the nice features, all the nice
You're
specs.
saving about 250, wouldn't you?
100%. So there's an option there as well. So I thought, let me just throw it there.
He did ask for options, so that was a good option.
The Corolla is a great option anyway, because I have said a number of times that the latest Corolla, the 12th generation,
Yes.
they
12th
should take the
generation.
Toyota badge off and put a Lexus badge on.
Yeah,
That's how good I rate that the latest
it
Corolla.
is very good.
And value for money.
It is, but I would take the, as I said, put a Lexus badge on that, and I'd take the Quest off the current Corolla and just call that the Corolla.
Yeah,
That's
I'm with you. It's actually not a bad idea. If he likes the Lexus, I think the Lexus is a great option. It's a low-risk car. It's very reliable. It's, it's Toyota, really. It's well within his budget. And if he likes that big saloon kind of car, you're going to be very happy with something like that.
When they first launched the ES, about 5 years ago or so, they actually said it was the modern Camry.
Yes.
You remember, it was that's where they pegged it.
Yeah.
And it is exactly that in my book.
I mean,
but it's
sedans are-
quality as well.
But the thing is, if they put a Camry badge on that, it'd be 550 instead of 700.
Swap it round, as I
know?
said. Yeah, no, exactly. But that's what I'm saying about the Corolla. You could do the same thing.
So I suppose it's a simple thing here. Keep the Mazda, because you're not going to get a lot of money for it because the mileage that you might as well use it, run as a run around, and go and buy yourself the Lexus ES. It's a great option. Okay, we're going to shift our focus from executive sedans to hot hatches. Raymond is 30 years old and lives in Polokwane. He currently drives a 2011 Nissan Micra 1.2, which has served him very well, but he intends to keep it as his daily runaround. He'd like to buy something a little bit more exciting. Well, anything. He wants it for the weekends. And what he spotted is a 2011 Ford Focus ST. Now, according to the seller, the car's only done 41,000 kilometers, and it's a 2011 model. That sounds very low, which Raymond reckons it's too low as well. So how can we make sure the mileage is accurate? And what are the thoughts on the Focus ST? Now, he's got a budget of 180,000 Rand, and he's also open to other suggestions. Timmy Corsa, 41,000 Ks on an 11-year-old car.
Alarm bells, bing, 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 bing. Just, when I saw a car 2011 with 40,000 Ks and, up here in Gauteng especially.
And for sale for 160,000 Rand.
Yeah, so firstly, I will check the service history of that car. If I really want to buy it, but I won't like to go that route. I'm sure this vehicle was somewhere in Town in Joburg with that kind of mileage. So and these are the things that we need to tell our buyers guide viewers out there, that they need to be careful of situations like this. So I'll go to Ford, check the history of this vehicle. You might find that this car had that 41,000 in flipping 2012.
Yeah.
And that was the last time the
Power
vehicle
service.
saw. Exactly. So check that, but alternatively, stay away from.
Look, he may have
could also
found.
have been standing at a panel beaters for 3 years waiting for the guy to have the money to bail it back out after he rang
He
it.
may have found the unicorn. I mean,
Sure.
there
Yes.
are cars out there that are low
Okay.
mileage like this,
Yeah.
but it's not going to be 160 grand.
No.
Because online, those same year models are selling for over 200,000.
100%, because the client has got all the history and all the
Yes,
documentation
can
of
show,
the
yeah.
vehicle.
In the past, you remember the old AA test you could take a car
Yeah.
for before you bought it? They could give you an indication of mileage.
Yes.
I mean, certainly, if it's done 40,000 or 80,000 or 40 or 100, they could, on that AA test, they could pick that up. So if he really does want to go and check this one out, if the dealer won't agree to an AA or a DECRA test, there's a problem already.
Yeah, look,
and they can give him a good indication.
I doubt very much. Look, it may be one of those unicorn cars, and you will see straight away.
Yeah.
You will go and you'll look at the car at 41,000 kilometers. It will be like brand spanking new store.
And
if
they
it's not
want
here, there, forget it.
exactly what they paid for it when it was brand new.
Yes.
Or more.
Yes.
You know what the
100%.
price of cars are going now.
100%.
At 40,000 kilometers,
For
an
160,000.
ST, I'd ask for half a bar,
Yeah.
because that would be the number.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd never sell it, but it's
Yeah.
it's realistically a 250,000 Rand car.
So what
if it was that car.
Yeah, or just over 200,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe 239, 249 kind of vehicle, because
A lot more than it's been
lot
advertised.
more than what is advertised.
So
So
I would be very
I would
wary.
say to Raymond, maybe he must relook at his budget. If he wants to trade in the Micra, go and look, because it looks like he wants to upgrade, or he wants a sportier.
He said he wants to keep the Micro as his
Yeah, as
Okay,
an
so
everyday
let's-
car.
So
It's a
what do you
weekend
buy
car.
for 180,000 Rand then?
He's not going to get anything that is hot, like he says he wants a strong hot hatch.
Wouldn't he get a
right?
Polo
So-
GTI or something
But
like
it
that?
will be over 200,000.
Yeah.
That's
A
fine.
one with a decent mileage, well look after service history and the likes. The last thing you want is to buy a strong hot hatch that is going to break after you just driven the car for 1,000 kilometers. So rather readjust your budget and go and look for Polo GTI, as we've mentioned, or even an ST with the right mileage
Yeah.
Yes.
But
and
you
the
know,
right history.
there's something else to just look at here as well, is as long as you've got the right history and the
Yes.
car's been looked after,
Yes.
he wants it as a weekend car. So even if he buys a high miler,
Yeah.
it's not going to matter because you're only putting minimal mileage on it.
Yeah, and all the other cars will eventually catch up with that in terms of it won't be a
yeah,
high
yeah.
mileage.
And guys,
4 or
In
5
another
years.
5 years, he'll be average mileage.
Yeah.
And there's one other thing I'll throw in. Insurance.
Quickly.
Insurance on a hot hatch.
Yes.
They're going to nail you the minute it's a ST.
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
30 years old, he's still
Absolutely.
youngish as far as they're concerned.
Cool. Okay. So
Thank you, Alan. Thank you for that extra bit there. We'll be taking a short break, but when we come back, we find out whether the Mercedes Benz Vito or the VW Combi make for the ideal family transport.
And we help a viewer choose the perfect bakkie for a growing small business.
Find your dream vehicle with Change Cars, the platform buyers trust.
Welcome back to Buyer's Guide. Now, Brandon is in the market for a minibus to use as daily transport for his family. He has a budget of 250,000 Rand and he's torn between two options, either a Mercedes Benz Vito crew bus or a VW Combi. Both vehicles, of course, are powered by diesel engines and come with full service histories. He also mentioned that he will definitely be buying an aftermarket policy with us. So, Temikosi, out of those two, which one would you buy with his budget of 250,000 Rand?
Yeah, I'll go for a VW bus. Both buses are great. I mean, they've got both service history, well looked after vehicles. But I think for maintaining the vehicle going forward and the services and spares and the likes, was going to be a day-to-day kind of vehicle, I'll opt for the VW bus.
Alan?
Can I ask a question before we give an answer? Is they mention here the VW he's looking at is a 73 kilowatt output.
Yeah,
What's the output on the Vito?
it's a lot more.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's my
a lot more
concern.
powerful, yeah.
A bus, 73 kilowatts, he better have a lot of time to do his open road traveling,
Yeah.
his long distance traveling.
Yeah,
To me, that is going to be so underpowered, he's going to go mad.
yeah. So
And I mean, I know the VW range have like 5 different options on the engine,
there's different power levels.
Yeah.
up to the 131, I think it
Yeah.
is on the top level. That one, that was just an alarm bell to me. They're both quality, they're both going to be good.
No, they're both damn expensive to run,
Yeah.
and they're all going to be fairly high mileage. I think he was mentioning mileages over 100.
167 and 190. yeah.
on the Vito.
So
On the
That's why I would choose an
Mercedes.
H1 bus.
Exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
You go and look at the Hyundai H1.
Yes.
I think it's a much better vehicle. It's cheaper to maintain. Mechanically, they're very, very strong.
Yeah.
You can buy a good automatic one. I looked online. You can compare to the VW, compared to the Mercedes. You're most probably going to get a much newer.
Sure.
So you'll pick up like a 2014 model, 15 model, somewhere around there, as
yeah.
opposed to like a 2010, 11 on the. And you're going to get one. I saw them in this budget, 249,99999. You know, as dealers do, it's 250 grand, and you can buy one with like 120,000 k's on it. So low mileage. And you can get some really good ones out there, and there's quite a lot of choice to choose
Yeah.
from as well.
Yes.
And I think it's actually, well, it's not as spacious as those two other vehicles, but it's still seriously spacious.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, if you're going for if you want the mark or the brand name, yes, VW or Mercedes. If you want good quality and value bang for your buck, it would be the H1.
I mean,
And
with the
also-
Hyundai, I mean, it's a good
Yeah.
name brand. I mean,
That's the
that
2.5
H1
diesel.
is
It's got a lot more oomph than definitely the
Yes.
VW one, and probably because the Vito as well had 3 or 4 different options on output. The H1's good, it's strong.
I
Yeah.
think
That's a
it's
good idea.
really reliable. We do quite a lot in our workshop, and I see them with 500,000 k's on them. It's
Yeah.
probably
Easy.
free.
still
Yeah.
go.
Easy 500,000.
Yeah, so it's a good way to go. It's something to look at. You know, it's obviously depends on what you prefer. If you want, like Segi says, if you want a Mercedes or Vito, I mean, or VW, that's cool. Go along and have a look at them. But have a look at the H1 because value for money, you're getting everything you're going to get in those other cars. And quite frankly, I think long term, it's a safer bet than going to buy
Good call.
cars that can be, because the German cars can be hellish expensive
Yep.
to maintain. I mean, every car is.
Yeah.
But in terms of,
You know, if something serious goes wrong with the Vito,
yeah.
you're going to start paying
No,
some
no.
serious
Yeah,
money.
and the H1s are good. So
Yeah.
have a look at that.
Before we head into the ad break, here's a question from Cliff, who lives in Pretoria and is shopping for an extended cab bakkie. He has a budget of 250,000 Rand and is looking for a vehicle that can comfortably transport animals and building materials and which you will use for the occasional long-distance trip to KZN and the Eastern Cape. Gentlemen, what would we recommend? I mean, he had there 4x4 double cab, but he also had something that very important to me was a king cab or a extra cab.
Extra cab, yeah.
Yeah, or club cab as we
Yeah.
knew it.
Depends on which brand, they all got their own.
Own
Yeah.
term.
Yeah.
Now, what would you recommend? And I just want to make mention here, it's a business vehicle.
Yes.
So,
So I'll definitely look at your Ford Ranger, double cab, 4x4. Because of the long distances going to be traveling and stuff. I mean, I was using a Storm Track for my December holidays.
Yeah, but that's not 250 grand.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. It's not 200 grand. More like a million
I'm
rand.
getting there.
You can drive through it, but
I'm getting there.
Well,
I mean,
850.
Yeah, okay.
he can get a decent wild track double cab 4x4 in that sort of a price range. Comfortable vehicle to drive to KZN, KwaZulu Natal, and to the Eastern Cape. So I think the Ford
in his
Ranger
budget,
wild track.
In his budget, 250.
He might have to adjust it a bit because if he's going to drive long distance, he doesn't want to buy a Skabenga vehicle out there. So again, it's always nice to say, no, my budget is 250, I want a Maserati. It's not going to happen, right? So we need to be reasonable and work within the budget. Okay, I need to adjust my budget in order for me to get what I need for the business and also what I need for my pleasure.
This is the problem with double cab bakkies and 4x4s because they are so popular.
Very.
And there's such a demand for them. Doesn't matter the make or model, whatever. There's somebody's going to buy them. It pushes the prices up. So when you're 250,000 rand's a nice healthy budget, but
Not for that.
not for that.
Not for what he needs.
It's
But
champagne taste and beer money.
But there's a little bit of an out here.
Yes.
He asked whether we say 4x4 or 4x2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he's planning to do open road, long distance, he does not need the 4x4.
Yeah, because
If he goes for the 4x2, which is more economical, by a fair margin,
Yeah.
they also are not as in demand. I'm sure he'll get a way better deal.
plus all the 4x2s have got a diff lock on it. So if you drive
And the raised ride height. So
Yeah.
you've got all of that.
I looked online and there's a couple of vehicles that came up that he can fit into his budget. And that would be Mitsubishi Triton.
Yes.
See, the older Triton, not the
Not the
present
newer,
one,
yeah.
the previous generation, the one that had the
J.
buck that looked at
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
They
Yes.
call
Looked
it
a
the
bit-
J or
The
whatever.
two, the one with the
Yeah.
3-liter DID or
Yeah.
2.5 liter DID.
Yeah. So it's that funny shaped
Yeah.
one. You can pick up those which are very, very good, very strong,
strong.
very reliable, and very underrated.
Yep.
The other thing with that is if you're driving around rural areas and stuff like that, theft risk.
Yeah.
If you're looking at theft risk, it's something that maybe won't be stolen so much. And then of course you can go to something like the
Isuzu?
the Isuzu as well.
Yeah.
If you can
KB?
find Isuzu, look, they're very popular, so they push the price up. And if you look around at something like even a GWM,
Yep.
you can get a double cab GWM will fall into this sort of price range.
If you buy a king cab or extra cab, firstly, it's tax deductible. Double cabs aren't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's for business, it's tax deductible. You can deduct everything on there. The loading area in the bin is bigger on a king cab or extra cab.
You can show his age because King Cab is from 1980.
Oh,
with
will
this
you
is
stop it?
the hard body
Been trying to
King
correct
Cab.
him, yeah.
All right, correct me. Extra cab. Sorry, that's why we got you to
Club
Super cab.
Super cab.
super cab, whatever.
cab.
Okay, it's a bigger loading, bigger bin area.
Yeah.
So that takes care of his animals. You don't have to throw it in the back seat. You can toss him straight in the back.
That's true.
And you can put all the extra building materials, the planks and things that are longer,
Yeah.
scaffolding and things.
Yeah.
And like I said, you don't need a 4x4. You need a 4x2. So he can find a very, very good 4x2 extra cab for you.
There
youngster.
you go.
Cab.
Extra cab.
Well done.
Is that like
Well
King
within
Cab?
his budget.
So we've
For
given
his
a couple
value,
of ideas here, and I think you'll go out and find something decent. Okay, don't go away because after the break we weigh up the pros and cons of converting a vehicle to gas power.
And how do you get a dealership to take accountability if you can't get them to answer the phone in the first place?
Find your dream vehicle with Change Cars, the platform buyers trust.
Thank you for tuning in to Buyer's Guide. Isaac is 47 and lives in Rudaport. He is the proud owner of a 2016 Ford Fusion TDCi Power Shift and a 2017 Mazda CX-5 2-liter Active Auto. He would like to know if it's possible to convert either of the two cars to run on compressed natural gas, or CNG for short. If so, how much will it cost and are there any risks in doing such a conversion? The Ford has 68,000 kilometers on the clock and the Mazda 77,000 kilometers on the clock.
He's got low mileages on his car. So even if the cost of the fuel is lower, how much is he going to save per year or whatever it is? So that's about first comment. The second thing is he says he's not worried about where to fill up because there's a
Place
station.
close to him, yeah.
Yeah, But what about when he travels?
Put that in.
Your opinion on this?
No, I wouldn't even,
I wouldn't even consider this.
I wouldn't consider this. It's not worth it, for the low mileage vehicle he has, good vehicle that he has.
Yes.
I'm sure he's getting way better fuel consumption than most of the cars out there. So, I mean, who said the gas prices won't go up in the near future?
But
So,
But
just
also
keep
we're
your
looking at two cars which are both fuel-efficient cars.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the cost involved to do it, it's not worth your while unless you're doing very excessive mileages. That's like around the world in Europe, the taxis and that use it.
Yes.
But here, one, you don't have the expertise for it. Although people will tell you they have, there is no expertise here. There's not enough of it, I'm afraid. If you have any problems with the installations of it, it can damage your car to the extent that it just costs too much to fix.
Let's not talk
Also
about
just
him
to-
blow himself up.
Just one second. Also, these vehicles looks like they still have some warranties on them.
Yeah.
So you don't want to tap with the warranties.
Yeah.
and-
Yeah.
Well,
And-
that's it exactly.
So I was just
So,
They're both
Stop that.
relatively new cars.
so basically, what we're saying is just don't do it.
yeah.
Yes.
Just don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't waste your time with it. You're not going to save the cost involved. It's going to take you 5 years to recoup that money, and the problems you're going to have, not worth it. Okay, finally, here's a tough one from Randia. He bought a used vehicle from a dealership in Umhlanga at the end of October last year. He has since experienced some trouble with the brakes, and a visit to the nearby franchise workshop confirmed that the brakes need to be replaced. Now, this is where things get a bit tricky, because after numerous calls to the dealership, he has received no response from them, and no attempt has been made to resolve his issue. He'd like to know which other avenues are available in a case where the dealership refuses to take any action. Okay, so we don't know what's wrong with the brakes, but I assume the
With
brakes are
brakes
worn out.
needing to be replaced,
Now, in
I'm
terms of
assuming
that,
that brake pads.
so he bought the vehicle in October.
Yeah.
October, November, December, it's now January. So let's just assume this email came to us in December. That's 3 months you've had the vehicle. Within that period of time, brake pads are service items. They're not covered by the CPA at all. If there's a major fault with the brakes, fine. But if they've just worn out, that's your maintenance, I'm afraid.
100%.
That's what you need to pay to get fixed. Even if you bought the car, look, if you bought the car and a week later the brakes were grinding or something like that, then maybe the dealership will come to the party. The fact that they're not answering your calls, whatever, that's just poor service. You don't buy another car from them. But in terms of if it's just replacement brakes, brake pads and brake discs, that's a service item that falls out of the guarantees that is given to you. It's something that you need to do to maintain the vehicle. It's just part and parcel of the deal.
We're not hearing the other side of the story, and there's always 3 sides to any story. We don't know how he attempted to call them and what he had to say about it or anything.
I think that just goes to show when you guys send us an email, just make sure you give us as much information as possible, because when you give us a little bit of information like this and not the whole story, we're not carte blanche.
And with that, we've come to the end of this week's episode. Thank you, Teminkos and Alan, for joining us and giving.
Thank you.
Well, Teminkos, thank you for giving some excellent advice.
Thank you.
Alan,
Thanks to you, Alan.
Thanks to you too, Alan.
Okay, guys, and remember, when you're in the market for a hot hatch or a people mover or just a workhorse, be sure to visit changecars.co.za and see if they can beat your quote.
Until next time, please buckle up and keep it safe on the roads.
Buyer's Guide was brought to you by Change Cars, the platform where only manufacturer-approved dealers are allowed to advertise.